In this video, we are discussing the difference between facial attractiveness and facial strikingness. So first off, let me describe what each word means. Facial attractiveness refers to the extent to which a face is able to awaken genuine and deep admiration. Facial strikingness refers to how impressive or positively outstanding a face is compared to other faces. An attractive face is addictive and doesn't need to be seen as special on a conscious level. It impresses you subconsciously, and you end up wanting to see the face again and again without any logical reasoning. A striking face is the opposite. You get instantly impressed and often overrate the face. The problem is that you often don't feel any deep emotions while seeing these faces. You just think they look impressive or cool. More often than not, you do not end up searching up the face again to admire it like you probably would with a face high in attractiveness. A straight person often sees a striking face of the same gender as superior to an attractive face. This is why when a woman shares who the most beautiful women in the world are according to her, it's often a terrible list. The same goes for men telling women who the most attractive men are. Untrained eyes are often unable to see who truly are the most attractive people to the opposite gender. Instead, they become victims of the male or female gaze. Many people think that the one who has the most special and outstanding face in a positive way is the most attractive person. I often hear comments like, "He isn't even that attractive. I see guys who look like him every day." The problem with that argument is that the features that make a face attractive are more subtle than the features that make someone striking. Striking features are often easily spotted, even from far away. The people who use that logic think that every guy with brown eyes, fluffy hair, and a good jawline looks like Chico. At this point, you are probably asking who some people are who represent attractiveness and who are some who represent strikingness. Remember that many of these are very high in both. The perfect example of someone with one of the most attractive faces in the world is Chico. Chico has so many fangirls that he literally holds the title of Wattpad King, and that's not a title that you acquire easily. Chico is above average in strikingness, but if you compare his face with some others I am going to mention later in this video, you would probably think he is less attractive than them. He is the type of guy who you think is handsome, but still normal looking. His face does not stand out as much as other people I will mention in this video, but still, he gets more women than all of these others combined. There are edits of him for almost any song, often many to choose from. These edits have been made for over 13 years, and still to this day, new ones keep coming every day. People in the comments are coming up with creative phrases to simp for him. Many of these comments are saying that he is the most attractive man ever, and these are women of all ages, not some men who are part of the looksmaxxing community. Even now that the age pill has struck him, he still has women simping for him. Now let's move on to strikingness. The peak example of someone with a striking face is Hernan Drago. As a male, the first time you see him, you will be shocked by how outstanding he looks. You will immediately think he is the most attractive man ever, easily mogging Chico. However, when you look at the comments on his edits, you will see that the only comments are from men writing stuff like unmoggable or mogs Chico. You will most likely not find any comments from women. Everyone who gives Hernan attention seem to be members of the looksmaxxing community. People often use the argument of him looking like Superman as proof that he must be the most handsome man ever. First question: since when has Superman been the character women simp for? Sure, Hernan is probably the most dimorphic man in the world, but dimorphism is only one aspect of facial attractiveness and a vastly overrated one compared to things like facial harmony. Like, how hard is it to pick up on the pattern that the most wanted men are usually not in the extreme end of dimorphism, but not too feminine either? Balance is key. Hernan is also lacking in some of the most important aspects that make a face attractive. I will discuss these traits later in this video. I have asked some women if they find Hernan Drago attractive, and everyone has said no, commenting stuff like, "He looks constipated." On the other hand, no one that I have asked has doubted Chico's handsomeness, even if they didn't care about him as a person or even had a negative opinion of models in general. This, however, does not mean Hernan is not attractive, because even an attractive person is, according to my estimate, only seen as attractive by 20% at most if the person is abstract, only being seen through a screen, especially if they lack context. Someone who appears in a movie, for example, is more likely to be seen as attractive than someone who walks on a runway. Chico, however, is peak-tier attractive, so this does not apply to him. This puts into perspective just how attractive Chico is. Most men who are simped for by lots of women are actors who play characters with attractive personalities. But Chico, on the other hand, makes women go crazy based on looks alone. Male models are usually not known by name, but Chico is an exception. I was talking to this one girl who didn't even know who Mike Tyson is, but even she had a crush on Chico. If you still think Hernan mogs Chico, let me ask you this. Is your favorite singing voice that of an opera singer or a singer of another genre? See, this is the perfect analogy for facial attractiveness versus facial strikingness, since both things share the same dynamics. A more impressive face does not mean a more attractive face. So what are the features that make someone attractive and which ones make someone striking? What does Hernan lack that Chico has? The two pillars of facial attractiveness are facial harmony and mid-face projection, more commonly referred to as forward growth. In facial attractiveness, features are just the icing on the cake, and it's more important to not have too many flaws instead of having superb features. The thing that usually separates an elite face from an average face is that when you draw a vertical line from the back of the chin, it aligns with the middle part of the nose. In an average face, it aligns with the start of the nose bridge. Look at literally any face model or actor who plays someone who is supposed to look good. They all have elite forward growth. This is something that Chico has that Hernan lacks. And remember that chin projection and forward growth are not the same thing. If you didn't know this, you need to go back to the basics of facial aesthetics. Facial harmony is the other key part of facial attractiveness. How close are your ratios and angles to the thigh mask? Chico also beats Hernan when it comes to facial harmony, even though Hernan also scores pretty high. Having many structural flaws is also something that can take away a lot from your attractiveness. For example, the average face has over 65% harmony, but still gets a rating of 5 because of the lack of forward growth and the high amount of structural flaws like bad eye shape, bad nose shape, thin lips, excess fat, etc. Now let's move on to what makes a face striking. The two pillars of facial strikingness are coloring and angularity. Striking faces usually have sharp color contrasts. Take, for example, Hernan's bright blue eyes in contrast with his dark hair and eyebrows and light skin. Striking faces often have sharp lines, like Hernan's, whose jawline is sharp and who has hollow cheeks. His jaw is also very square-shaped. These are all extremely striking features. Hunter eyes, like Hernan's, are also the peak example of strikingness and can impress almost anyone. The thing that sets Hernan apart from other striking faces is his insane bone mass, which makes him look like a real-life Bruce Wayne from the comics. A striking face is intense, like watching a tiger or other predator, but ask yourself, are you attracted to tigers? Hopefully, your answer is no. Please remember that there are also those faces that are on the highest level of both attractiveness and strikingness. A good example of this is John Eric Hexum. Other S-tier attractiveness male faces include Alain Delon, Matt Bomer, Brad Pitt, and Vasily Stepanov. Some S-tier strikingness male faces are Jorge Del Rio, Jordan Barrett, Saphir, and Sean O'Pry. An example of a high attractiveness, low strikingness face is the Korean actor Cha Yun-woo. An example of a high strikingness, low attractiveness face is Elias Depute. You have probably heard the phrase high PSL, low appeal. This often means high strikingness and lower attractiveness. Keep in mind that both of these two guys are still above average in both, since attractiveness and strikingness often correlate with each other. If I had to compare attractiveness with strikingness in a sentence, I would say that attractiveness robs hearts, while strikingness gives you social status and respect. Both are helpful for attracting the opposite gender. If you are attractive, girls dream about you. If you are striking, girls want to be with you to make others jealous and to get higher social status. Most extremely striking people are models, while most extremely attractive people are actors. But of course, there are both kinds of people in both fields. Hopefully, at this point, you have learned about the difference between facial attractiveness and strikingness. Please comment below who else you think fits more in either attractiveness or strikingness. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. If I get 10 likes, I will make a video on the most overrated faces versus the most underrated faces. I will also start making face rating videos of famous people with a scale that is more detailed and logical than any other system. It will give you the exact reasoning to why they get the score they get. My rating system will also have separate scores for attractiveness and strikingness. Please comment who you would want to see rated.